This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. NCU lecturer to be extradited for sex crimes in U.S. A Jamaican lecturer has been linked by scientific evidence to sexual and other criminal offenses in the United States, according to American authorities who have requested his extradition. Russell McLean, a behavioral and social sciences lecturer at a Northern Caribbean University in Mandeville, is wanted in Florida for alleged offenses that date back to 1997, Jamaican authorities disclosed in the Corporate Area Criminal Court on Tuesday. McLean was arrested in Mandeville last week, local law enforcement sources confirmed. He waived his right to an extradition hearing and agreed to go to the U.S. to face charges of armed sexual battery, armed burglary of a dwelling, armed kidnapping, burglary, possession of burglary tools, and resisting law enforcement with violence. There were also extradition requests for two other Jamaicans, Damian Clark and Damone Oakley. Clark is wanted in New York on a 3-count indictment that charges him with distributing and possessing with intent to distribute over 5 grams of cocaine-based substance, possessing a handgun with a serial number erased, and carrying a firearm in relation to a drug trafficking crime. The indictment was filed in a U.S. court on September 2004. Oakley is wanted in Pennsylvania on a 16-count indictment related to lottery scamming, which was filed in a court there in June last year. Count 1 to 6 are for mail fraud, and the remaining counts are for wire fraud, court documents revealed. Clark and Oakley also waived their right to an extradition hearing. Investigations into the allegations against McLean went cold for 13 years before detectives got a breakthrough, according to documents disclosed in court supporting the extradition request. U.S. authorities charged that DNA tests conducted in 2010 linked him to other criminal offenses, prompting investigators to reopen the case. According to the unsealed extradition documents, American law enforcement agents resumed their pursuit of McLean and were tipped off last year that he was residing in Jamaica. Calls to NCU President Dr. Lincoln Edwards and the communications manager Baron Buckley late Wednesday went unanswered. Protect English as a language of labor force, says Prime Minister. Contending that English is an economic asset to the country, Prime Minister Andrew Holness has said that it is time for Jamaicans to accept it as the ideal language for the labor force. Holness was speaking at ITEL's 10th anniversary celebration, which saw the opening of a second business process outsourcing location in Kingston on Wednesday. Take away all the cultural issues about a language being a barrier to access and the ability to speak in our social context being a barrier to access. We need to get over that and ensure that we protect the English language in our country as discrete from our Jamaican language, which we must speak as we will and as we want. But get over this nonsense that one is going to block you from access in the society, Holness said to rousing applause. Noting that the BPO sector today boasts approximately 54,000 employees, the Prime Minister asserted that the basis of their employment is rooted in their ability to speak the English language. He said that the social and cultural issues that have held the country down in the past must be put aside to focus on economic prosperity. Added to that, Holness said that he has had a good discussion with the Cuban ambassador Fermin Gabriel Quinones Sanchez, suggesting that the possibility exists of adopting Spanish as a second language. Holness said it is time Jamaicans seek to be multilingual to better position themselves for the job market by meeting businesses' demands. We must never limit our options. We need to be very serious about making the decisions which may be popular and the decisions that people will immediately like. But we have to see language as an economic asset, he said. In the same breath, the Prime Minister reiterated that the restructuring of the education sector is imperative, with businesses expressing challenges in meeting labor force demands. He said the issue goes beyond the shortage of labor to the lack of skills. He said that the government is moving to override to correct this with the restructuring of Heart NSTA Trust. We recognize that Heart has to be a seamless entity that takes a person even if they are illiterate and bring them up to the level of literacy where they can gain knowledge and then from knowledge to skills. In parallel with knowledge and the skills we build attitude, Holness said, adding that plans are underway to fill the position of managing director. $47 million to replace streetlights stolen last year. It will cost the taxpayers more than $47 million to replace streetlights stolen in last year alone. Local government minister Desmond McKenzie says unscrupulous people are preying on the network, stealing more than 723 lights from last April to March this year. He said the $47 million the Jamaica Public Service Company spent to replace them will have to be repaid with tax dollars. According to Mr. McKenzie, the Chesterfield Main Road in St. Andrew is one of the problem areas, having been cleared of its lights for the fourth time, resulting in a cost of US $16,000.
32 lights, along with 3,300 meters of service wire, was stolen on 3 separate occasions at a cost of over $50,000 US, Madam Speaker. JPS is reporting that the lights along the Chesterfield Main Road has been stolen for the 4th time, Madam Speaker, at a cost of $16,000 US to replace them. The second example, Madam Speaker, is the Elsha Main Road in St. Catherine, where 15 lights, 1,500 meters of service wire were stolen all at once in one night, Madam Speaker. These lamps and wires cost over 7,000 US dollars. It is clear that these criminal acts require the police response.
Murders up by 6.5%. Murders in Jamaica have increased by 6.5%. The latest crime statistics published by the Jamaica Constabulary Force is indicating that up to Monday, May 23, 35 more people have been killed in 2022 when compared to the similar period in 2021. Murders now stand at 574. The St. Mary Police Division has the largest percentage increase of 500% and has seen murders run away in the parish when compared to the previous year. A total of 18 people have been killed in 2022 when compared to 3 in 2021. Of the 19 police divisions, St. James has seen the most killings with 96 murders, whereas Portland has recorded the least with 4. Shootings, injured persons, rape, and robberies have declined. Break-ins, however, is up 5.8% over the period under review. Drowned teen and grandma to be buried, memorialized in July. The family of Beryl Walters and her granddaughter Janelle, who lost their lives to the raging floodwaters of the Barrett River in Montego Bay, will finally say goodbye to them in July. Janelle will be buried at King's Seventh-day Adventist Church on July 3, and there will be a memorial service for Mommy on the 6th at the Mount Salem SDA, Gregory Walters told the news on Wednesday. They have been able to move ahead now that an autopsy has been completed on the teenager's body. Gregory Walters said family members are doing their best to cope as they work together to ensure the 12-year-old girl and her 68-year-old grandmother are eulogized in a manner that shows how much they were loved. The two were traveling in a car on April 19 with the teen's grandfather Beryl Walters and Aunt Shannon Walters when tragedy struck as the car was pushed into a culvert of murky water. Beryl and Shannon were rescued, but later that night Janelle's body was found in seawaters near the Freeport area of Montego Bay. Days of searching for her grandmother's body proved futile. The search was officially called off after 24 days. 34 deaths as a fire brigade receives more than 15,000 emergency calls in 10 months, says McKenzie. The Jamaica Fire Brigade received a total of 15,056 emergency calls during the period of April 2021 to February 2022. Of that number, 1,586 people were displaced because of fires, 77 people including 13 firefighters were injured, and 34 people died. This was disclosed on Wednesday by the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Desmond McKenzie, during his contribution to the sectorial debate in the House of Representatives. Despite the JFB's hard work, I remain concerned about the number of fires that are occurring, many of which were entirely preventable. There is still much to be done to get our citizens to accept greater personal responsibility to prevent the death and devastation caused by fires, McKenzie said. He reminded that on March 24, two young girls, 3-year-old Abigail Thompson and her sister, 4-year-old Kayla Thompson, perished in a house fire in Clarendon. A terrible record was also set through this tragedy, as these two precious little ones were the first fire-related deaths of 2022, McKenzie noted. He said this was why public education and outreach through the JFB's Community and Life Safety Program continues to be relevant and crucial. He shared that in the latest financial year, 341 fire drills were conducted in schools, workplaces, and places of safety across the island. Meanwhile, McKenzie is pleading with Jamaicans to desist from placing fake calls to the fire brigade. Every fake call to the JFB has the chance of causing damage and death because the firefighters were diverted away from people who genuinely need help, he said. The minister noted that over the last 5 years, there has been a downward trend in the number of prank calls, which previously had a yearly average of 2,000. But he lamented that in 2021, there were 1,174 prank calls, a 5% increase over the 1,119 recorded in 2020. I am asking for greater responsibility, both at a personal level and also in the supervision of children, to sharply reduce the number of prank calls, McKenzie pleaded. He also urged elected representatives at every level to advocate a culture of fire awareness and fire prevention. In the meantime, the local government minister shared that 894 fire hydrants were maintained and 295 repaired, while 6,024 buildings were inspected. I cannot overemphasize the point that fire safety is everybody's business. I also want to urge those who continue to make prank calls to the fire brigade to stop doing it, he said. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.